A lot of new faces, obviously. How'd you feel like they handled themselves?
I thought they did a great job. That's been the trick all the past 2 weeks. I guess you can call it 2 weeks of trying to blend together the new faces with the returners and trying to maximize our talent that we have. And we've, moved some people around and shifted some things, and I was happy with all of them. We were able to see some new faces out there, and I thought they did a good job.
After the success you guys had last year, and then you lost some people, and what do you do to prevent a step back and instead, take a step forward with such a young team?
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of fundamentals, right? Instilling what our basic defending principles are going to be. How are we going to act in the last 10 minutes of the game, or how are we going to attack? And so that's been our big thing right now. But the spring, we spent a long time with our culture, with the upperclassmen, and I couldn't be more proud of how they've welcomed the freshmen coming in. And the freshmen can't grow and they can't be successful if they don't have great leadership. And so the team culture is in a good spot right now, and I think if we can just continue to press that, I think we're going to be okay.
What are some things that freshman class to step up right away?
What was that?
Do you need that freshman class to step up right away?
Absolutely, we need the freshman class to step up right away. I mean, you saw Allie Cook made an impact today, and she's been doing that at practice. Saki in the midfield, she's talented. I mean, that's why she's trained with the Reign all summer long, and she wants to be one of the first homegrown players to be drafted by the Reign, and you can see it. They all bring a different level of professionalism. These kids want to go play pro, and so it's fun. It's fun to see the training. They're staying after. They're doing film. I think everyone has elevated their play at practice.
How much does the Women's World Cup, having been played this year, play into that? It almost gives the moment to be on that main stage and get something to point to, in addition to the NWSL and what the Thorns have been doing too.
For sure. I mean, the World Cup was fun. We all watched it. We had little, everyone had a different team that they were following, and it was great to see the U.S. win. But it's actually been great to see the trends, if you will, of what the women's soccer game is going and how it's going. And we've been able to apply some of the defending principles, the pressing, the set pieces, what the U.S. national team is doing. And I've been in contact with Jill Ellis quite a bit, and she's been giving me some tips on what they saw in the World Cup. So it's been fun.
It was a cool summer for you. You got to see players playing on that stage and on the professional stage. What was that like for you as a coach, and what can that mean for your program and putting players at that level?
That's the goal. We want to develop our players. Obviously our goal is to be the first team in program history to get into the tournament. We talk about competing for a Pac-12 championship, and if you're doing that, you're competing for a national championship with how strong the Pac-12 is. But as coaches, we want to develop our players, right? And we want to create an environment where we are pushing them and pulling them and coaching them and really trying to help them achieve their goals. And to see, Marla Sweatman play 90 minutes against Brazil and to know that she was a product of Duck Soccer, I was so excited. We have Marissa Everett playing with the Thorns, and, Jazz playing with the Dash. We have Hotla playing in Iceland. And so it's a fun time, to piggyback. It's a fun time for a women's soccer player, female, to be entering college and to know that that's a possibility. When Jazz was drafted, I got a couple texts going that I want to be next. I want to be the next person to be drafted. And so that's inspiring to have that and to really see it,
Is that current players or recruits?
Yeah, current players. Yeah.
Going back to what you mentioned on getting with your upperclassmen in the spring to kind of talk about the culture, I mean, what were some of the things that were discussed? Was it something that needed to be changed or improved on? What were the conversations there?
No, we graduated such a big class, right? And I think when you do that, you have to make sure that the foundation is set. Like, if we go into this season with a broken foundation, it's going to come apart. And so we were just doing real basic, what is our values, what our values are. What's our mission statement? How do we act? How do we act on the field, off the field? How do we train? And how do we treat others? And that's a big thing for our team. And so we did a lot of team building exercises, if you will, but it was really just to hammer home those team culture principles.
Knowing what the Pac-12 is as a conference in women's soccer, I mean, is it hard to kind of see ways to elevate, knowing that the more things change, the more they do kind of stay the same there with Stanford and USC and UCLA all kind of always jockeying up in that top 3?
I try not to focus on that. If I'm too busy watching Katarina at Stanford, then I'm not focusing on my own players. No question, those players are, talented. But last year we lost to Stanford in the last minute of the game in double overtime. So it doesn't really matter what they have on paper. We have to stay focused within our goal and our mission. And if we get caught up with what they did or what they're doing, then we're just going to, fall apart as a coaching staff.
You mentioned, wanting to be the first team that gets into the NCAA tournament. Is that something that you emphasize with the team, or is that something that you would prefer that they just not think about, that this team is still waiting for that moment?
We talk about it, for sure. I think we had that real conversation in the spring, and that was part of our team culture of what are we doing, what's our why, and what is the purpose of this team. And I think when you build something together and you have a shared common goal, and that when you're on the field there's sometimes highs and lows, and there's like oh, she said this to me, or we're all trying to do the same thing. The enemy is the other team, not ourselves. And if we can all understand that our team goal is to be the first team in program history to get into the Pac-12, into the NCAA tournament, then everything else will be okay.
How important was it to have Maya and Croy in the spring?
It was great. Obviously Croy has settled in here quite nicely. Maya unfortunately broke her nose, or deviated her septum at our first full field scrimmage on Monday night, so she's a little bit limited. But to have them both come in, oh my goodness, they were able to jump into these big conversations. They're both going to be big contributors to us this fall, and you can see the ease and the confidence that they have on the ball.
What do you see for Alyssa and Croy together?
Hopefully a lot of shutouts. You can see the chemistry out there. They work well, and the really cool thing is when we get Hannah Taylor back. Yeah. That's for us is, do we put Hannah Taylor as our holding midfielder and let her be the ball winner that we know she is? Do we rotate her back in there? So for our coaching staff, it's a good problem to have.
Anybody come back this year that has impressed you so far, just maybe in terms of physical changes or things that they have done in the off season, on the ball or off?
Yeah, we had a good group of players that stayed here all summer, and Trudot Asco, I thought, really committed to that. So, we all know that she's very talented on the ball, but she really worked hard. And, Zoe Hasenauer went home and had a great summer. She needed some time, I think, to refocus, and she's playing lights out right now. And, it's hard. I think they've all done their part. They came in really fit. Our fitness standard was higher. Our results were higher than any season that we've had. 5 out of the top 7 were freshmen, so that was kind of cool. But you can definitely see that they are focused, they care about each other, and they're ready to have some fun.
What formation are you playing this year? In the spring we saw some 4-3-3. Today I asked some of the players, they said 4-4-2 with a diamond in the middle.
Yeah, a little bit of both. We played both. So we started in a 4-4-2. Second half, we played in a 4-3-3. The hard part for us is going to try to figure out how to get all those creative forwards on the field at the same time.
Yeah, you move in Jordan to the middle.
Yeah, Jordan into the middle. Allie Cook is such a great 9. Emma is such a great 9. Jordan's pretty good on the flank, beating players 1v1. I thought she was going to get one down there. Yeah. She wants it so bad, so we'll see.
Shutouts are easier if you get good play in goal. Did you get enough action there tonight to really make an assessment?
That's a hard part. I wanted the action, right? But I didn't want the action. So the two of them have been doing a really good job in making it hard for us. Some of the separating factors that we're looking for is, organization of the box, distribution. We will play them both next week. So we will, make that deciding factor as we get into that. But Charlotte is one that went home, and Caitlin stayed here all summer, and you can see it. They both want that starting spot.